Vincent Van Gogh, people told him, you can't be a great painter, you only have one ear. You know what he said? I can't hear you.
Listening to Sippin' Sports, a Phillies sports talk morning show with KJ and Dalt. Proudly powered by 302 Birds. Let's take it to the show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sippin' Sports. Unfortunately, wish we had better news for you guys, that being with the Philadelphia Phillies taking the L last night. Broad had me cracking up pregame saying that he stayed up for nothing, but I'm feeling good this morning, man. I don't got my coffee. It's lunchtime for your boy. Did a morning cut grass. Feeling fine. That's why you guys may see a little bit of a sweat stain on me. But other than that, it's a good Saturday morning. How you doing, Broad?
Oh, I'm feeling great. Not great last night with that Phillies game. I mean, I stayed up till like 12:30, 1 in the morning to watch that Phillies game. They fell flat. I mean, we'll get into it. But, I mean, it's a great Saturday. I'm very happy to be here. But yeah, I mean, let's have a great show.
Let's have a great show. And for those of you guys who don't know, Broad Street Sports, a.k.a. Ryan, will be joining me and KJ as a permanent host on the show. We're very excited for that. It's going to be a ton of fun. KJ this week is actually on vacation. That's why he's not here on the show. But let's go ahead and get right into it. So I know if KJ was here, I would have to bust his balls about his Padres rap that he had. But unfortunately, there was nothing last night to sing about, man, right?
No, and here's my thing. You would expect that the way you played on when did the San Francisco series end? Wednesday, okay. So you would expect after the way you played on Wednesday when you put up 13 runs and the way that you got jacked around in the first two games of the San Francisco series that you would show up and play with a little bit more fight. They fell flat. Ranger Suarez didn't have his best stuff, wasn't awful, but you know what? They struck out 11 times. They left 7 guys on base. And you know what the worst part about it was? They had this big spot in the 8th inning, bases loaded, 1 out. Nick Castellanos grounds out. I mean, it was like such a feeble at-bat, feeble ground out. And then right after him is the loser, Max Kepler. You know what he does? He pops out to Bogarts, to the shortstop. So this team, you would expect, that they put up a little bit of a better fight with one of your aces on the mound, Suarez, especially the way you put up 13 runs on Wednesday in San Francisco. I would expect this team to play a little bit differently. They came out flat. Obviously, Castellanos had that big home run in the second. And then Schwarber obviously had his moonshot of a homer. But other than that, this team was flat. They had no energy, and they were just outplayed. And, I mean, it happens. But, you're on a West Coast trip. You have to play better, and you have to put up a fight, especially it's not like you have Taijuan Walker on the mound. Not like you have Taijuan on the mound. You have Ranger Suarez. You got to put up a fight. You got to be able to hit. And you know what? It really bothered me that 8th inning. I'm watching feeble at bat. If they're feeble at bat. Max Kepler, who I'm sure we'll get into at some point, I'm ready to smash his face into a wall. So, I mean, that's just where I'm at with this team.
Yeah. I'm kind of like disappointed, I would say, in Stott. I want to see more from him. I feel like beginning this year, Bryson Stott was off to a really good pace. And ever since they've taken him out of that leadoff spot, he's kind of lost that spunk that he had. Whatever he was doing right, he's not necessarily doing anymore. I was just looking at the stats. In the first game, like he has 73 hits this year, and he had 15 of them in the last 20 games. I see the stats are there, but it just doesn't feel like the production's there, right? Like it doesn't feel like Stott is doing what he needs to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just want to see more from the daycare as a whole. And I don't really care what the hell we call them. I call them the daycare because I'm used to that.
Yeah.
But like, I want to see these guys really take the lead because I saw somebody on Twitter like being like, I don't respect Bryce Harper until he brings a championship to this city. And this dude is ripping into Bryce Harper about like last night's loss. Like Bryce, don't get me wrong, wasn't great. 1 hit, 4 at-bats, no runs, not the best.
Right.
But I don't think Bryce is always to blame. Like you got to have your young guys at some point step up and develop, and that's part of life. So I want to see Stott start to take that development, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think that's really what the major problem is with this baseball team. And, because we sit here and we talk about who can the Phillies pick up, who can the Phillies, trade for, and how do we upgrade this team? I mean, outside of Schwarber, Harper, and Castellanos, this team has nobody. I mean, and Turner, excuse me. So Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Castellanos, this team has nobody. Bryson Stott, the past, I mean, he had a good 2022 and a great 2023. Last year he was underwhelming, and this year he's severely underwhelming. He's batting in the low 200s. And like I think he's just trying to hit for power too much. He's not trying to play the small ball game like we know. That's his game. So the problem is with this baseball team. We could talk about who we can pick up at the deadline, who we could add to this baseball team. The problem is that outside of your 4 main guys, there is nobody that's picking up slack. Alec Boehm picks up 0 slack. He does nothing. And I've always had a problem with Topper in the lineup having Harper, then Boehm, then Castellanos. Boehm should not be in your 4-hole. But just to continue with what you were saying, we don't see any production consistently out of the daycare. Marsh sucks. Stott sucks offensively. Alec Boehm, way too inconsistent. The dude is 6'7" and cannot hit a home run. I mean, give me a break, dude. So this team, where it's at, the daycare as a whole has been severely underwhelming. Stott has been a disaster at the plate. And it's just like, I don't know what to do because you add in another bat. I don't know, right? Your players that are on this team, your young guys, the future, they're giving you no production. And that makes me think for all these callers that call up my show or call up WIP or whatever it is, and they say, oh, we need to call up Justin Crawford. Or Aiden Miller, or whoever. Have you watched the Phillies recently? Have you watched them? We have guys who've been called up. Stott, Boehm. They have been underwhelming. So what makes you believe that calling up a guy like Justin Crawford is going to be life-changing? I mean, we've seen it when the Phillies call guys up, they're severely underwhelming. I don't know. So I'm just not to continue to rant on that, but I fully agree with you and what you're saying about Stott, and he's been just underwhelming, and it's sad to see, man. But that doesn't mean we can't let Boehm can't be let go, and Kepler. I mean, I'll get into Kepler. I'll rip into him very shortly. But yeah, I'll let you go. I'll let you talk. But that's just where it is. You can't rely on the same 4 guys every night with nobody wanting to step up.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully my connection doesn't bug out here. If it does, my apologies to you guys. But yeah, I'm going to say this. I want the Phillies to trade for some kind of a closer, relief pitcher, and, maybe an outfielder with a bat. Like Broad said, Alec Boehm, he can't hit even though he's, the size of a gorilla. Dude's a giant, but it's like, come on, we want more homers. So I think at this point, what do you give up for it? Like, what are you willing to sell? And for me, this may sound crazy, but I think I'm willing to sell everybody but Harper and Schwarber. Yeah. I think anybody's on the table at this point. Like, if you told me, hey, you're going to bring in a legit candidate that's going to help Harper and Schwarber, or Wheeler's obviously not on the table, right? Like there's some pitching, but I'm talking about offensively right now. That's where I think that the Phillies need to get things figured out, because that's where when it goes bad, it goes really bad.
Yeah, I think on that topic right there, I think there's too many fans out there that think that Alec Boehm is safe. That he's is safely, he's going to be on this team, and that's a quote unquote off-season move. I don't think so. I think there's too many fans out there that seem to believe that Bryson Stott is safe as well. I think you can, if there's a big move out there, you're at the point now where this has to be mixed up. This has to be changed. Running it back, the same baseball team over and over and over and over again, the same lineup over and over and over and over and over again. It doesn't work, especially when you get no offensive production. I think you could see Boehm moved potentially. I think you could see Bryson Stott moved potentially. I think Kepler is DFA'd very shortly. I don't really see a world where they move Castellanos. I think he gives them too much production. I mean, if there's like a serious upgrade for right field, maybe, but I think they give him, or he gives them too much production. But yeah, I mean, you could see Kepler moved, you could see Boehm moved, you could see maybe here's one, and I'll tell you this before I let you speak here. Aaron Nola. Okay. Aaron Nola is somebody who I did not like the signing when we re-signed him and we extended him. I didn't like the contract at all. And he's proven over and over and over again why it's a disastrous contract. I think you could potentially see him be moved. I think so. I mean, he has a couple years left on his contract. Yeah, I think the way you look at it, Stott, Boehm, Nola, Kepler, Marsh, Rojas, maybe Castellanos. I don't see them moving JT. He's just too good defensively. And what do? You move. If you move Realmuto, who do you want to have starting? Rafael Marchand? You think I want Rafael Marchand starting games in the NLDS? I don't think so. So that's just, I think everything at this point is on the table, and I think Dombrowski has to be willing to move off of pieces. I think he has to be willing to move off of like guys out there that are also in the minor leagues, and my thing with that is all we do is we're talking about how we can get, Stephen Kwan and Emmanuel Clase or Jaron Duran and Aroldis Chapman from Boston, right? That's all we're ever talking about at this point. But we don't talk about what these teams would want. And I promise you, these teams don't want an Alec Boehm. They don't want a crybaby. I can promise you, these teams don't want Max Kepler. I can promise you this. I mean, there's some teams that would take a gamble on Bryson Stott, but there's too many guys on this team that are quote unquote trade pieces that are underwhelming and bring absolutely no value. So we could talk all we want about bringing in the Stephen Kwan, Emmanuel Clase, or Santana and Bednar. We could talk about all we want. But what do these teams want in return? They want serious ball players. And this team does not have enough serious ball players to move. I didn't know if you were.
It's all good. No worries. I just reset it just in case. Yeah, but I like what you said about serious ball players. Like you need in any team, in anything you do in life, right? When you guys are all going for a common goal, you need to all be bought in to the same thing and going in the same direction. And there's no disrespect to any of these ball players saying that they aren't doing that, right? Like I think that mentally they show up, they have a good attitude, and baseball's a difficult sport. Like we're just two guys that sit here on a microphone, to be clear. Like we aren't out there swinging the bat. We understand that, it's easier said than done. We both get it, But at the same time, it's like, as an athlete, you need to also say, okay, when do I also look in the mirror and say, oh, I might be on the chopping block? Because I think for like you alluded to a second ago, this is going to probably be part of the busiest 2 weeks for Dombrowski. Like he should be not sleeping. Hell, I want him to go take a fucking course from Howie Roseman, like a freaking TED Talk or something. Go get a couple pointers from him. Go figure out the art of making a deal in the sports league. And honestly, go after it, man, because it's a give and it's a take in this league. And you got to give up some things to gain some things. But ultimately, you're the general manager of this team. You got to know, okay, who do we have that's talented here? Who do we have that's talented there? Who's not performing? Who hasn't performed over the past 2 years? Who hasn't performed over the past 2 weeks? Who has performed over the past 2 weeks? Like all those questions that you got to ask. You really need to figure it out because what's happening right now, as a lot of people have said in the beginning of the year, in the whole offseason, in every single part of this, nothing's going to change. And it's like, well, it's mid-July. Are we already going to be talking about 2026? I hope not. And I don't think so. I want to be clear about that. I was saying that to my coworkers yesterday. I do think, and I'll say it right now, Broad, we can go back to it. July 12th, 10:31 a.m. Saturday. Yeah. I have a very good feeling that this Phillies team might be in the World Series again, and they could win it. Just the world and the universe has a weird way of working itself out. It happened that way in 2022. Weird shit was happening. And then, Philly teams both ended up in the championships in the same year, and we lost, of course. Maybe this is redemption year. The Birds, it's a little bit different of a story. When you have a player like Saquon Barkley that you trade for, that's going to make the change. Now, can the Phillies make that trade? I know some people are saying Cedric Mullins. Some people are saying Felix Bautista. I don't know. Is there anybody that you are specifically wanting at the deadline?
Well, just before I get into that, just off your point, I don't sit here and say that the Phillies cannot make the World Series and that they're not a World Series caliber team. On paper, this team should have won 2 World Series already. On paper, statistically speaking, okay? But the problem is this team doesn't rise to the occasion, and we have a general manager, a president of baseball operations that sits on his thumbs all day, doesn't want to do anything, doesn't make moves, doesn't try to make things better. So is this team a World Series team? Sure, on paper. But and is it impossible for them to win a World Series? No, they could do it. But I just don't see a world where that happens. I don't think they're ran the right way. I don't think the players play the right way. And I don't think, and I'm not saying that they don't care. But there's like a difference. They just don't rise to the occasion when the occasion needs. So for the Phillies deadline candidates, so now I have a list of people who I've heard from Matt Gelb, from a couple other guys that say that these are the guys the Phillies are trying to push for. Apparently, they're really trying to go in towards the American League Central, which would obviously be the left fielder Stephen Kwan and Emmanuel Clase, the closer. Well, I mean, which would be amazing because you bring in a guy who could not only hit home runs in left field. I mean, not at a great clip like Schwarber does, but he gets you on base. He's pretty fast, and he's very good defensively. And you bring in Emmanuel Clase, who I mean is one of the best closers in the league. You bring him in on a disastrous bullpen that's like on fire right now, and not on fire in a good way. I mean, like it's burning in there, like it's terrible. So I mean, you could go in there for Cleveland, go snag both of them. I don't know what they would want. They'd obviously want some prospects and some good players in return. We'll see what they want there. I've also heard they're trying to go into Boston, maybe bring in a Jaron Duran and an Aroldis Chapman, who's having arguably his best year of his career. So you may be able to go in there and snag them. And then obviously we've been talking about Pittsburgh, two Pittsburgh Pirates relievers, Santana and Bednar, for weeks now. We've been talking about these guys. So if you go and do the deal with them, you'd bring in 2 very solid bullpen arms. And then obviously from Minnesota, we've been hearing a lot about Johan Duran and Byron Buxton. I mean, here at this point, I think that's going to be tougher. Johan Duran is great. Byron Buxton's great. I'm not sure if I'm all on board with bringing in Byron Buxton. I mean, he's great. He's fast. He can hit homers. He can get on base, but he's just too injury prone. I mean, every year he has some sort of an injury. So I'm not fully sold on him. I've heard a lot about Mullins. I think they're off of Mullins now. I think they're looking maybe at like an Adolis Garcia. They're looking at Stephen Kwan. They're looking at Duran. They're looking at guys that are different than they claim that they were in May. I think Mullins is quote unquote off the table. Maybe he's not fully off the table. If they're able, I think the thing that this Phillies team is trying to do right now, I don't think that they're trying to go in and snag one guy. Like, I don't think they're trying to go in to Boston and snag Aroldis Chapman. I think they're trying to go, if they're going to go into Boston, they're going to try and snag Aroldis Chapman and Jarren Duran. I think if they're going to try and go into Minnesota, they're going to try and snag Johan Duran and Byron Buxton. So I think they're trying to kill two birds with one stone and not like snag bits and pieces. So now, Dalt, just before we continue to talk about these candidates, I have a player stats here. And I'm not going to say who the player is, but I want you to guess who the player is. So I'm going to read you his stats. Okay, you ready?
Sure.
And you may or may not know this guy. No cheating here. No cheat. You ready?
No cheating.
And this is for everybody that's in the audience as well. Okay. So how would you feel about a guy, a reliever, who throws upwards of 100 miles an hour? Okay, upwards of 100 miles an hour. Great slider. Okay, he has a 3.13 ERA. 51 strikeouts and 37 innings pitched, and has 22 walks on the year. How would you feel about that?
How many strikeouts on the year?
51 and 37 innings pitched.
I'd feel pretty good about that.
So just to clear it up, he has a 3.13 ERA, 51 strikeouts, and 37 innings of work with 22 walks.
Who is it?
He's from the Baltimore Orioles. Sir Anthony Dominguez.
No way.
Sir Anthony Dominguez.
So are you saying maybe we bring him back?
So I've been hearing a lot down the grapevine from Jack Fritz, from a couple of guys. I'm not saying I think it would be. I don't know if it would work. I don't think the Phillies want to bring him back, but I mean, I wouldn't be fully opposed to it. But I'm just saying, you let him go. I mean, he was a disaster for the Phillies, so it was the right call. But now you look at that, and I would 1,000%. That 1,000% take a 3.13 ERA with 51 strikeouts and 37 innings pitched. I mean, I would take that right now. But if you want to go into Baltimore, maybe you can't get a Felix Bautista, but you can bring in so you could bring back Sir Anthony Dominguez, who's having arguably one of his better years of his career. You could bring him back in to try and stabilize, and then you can go and get Aroldis Chapman and Jarren Duran. So I think there's like bits and pieces, but I thought that was funny. You have a guy who you let go because he was a train wreck, and now he's out there and he's pitching lights out for the Orioles. So, Sir Anthony Dominguez, folks. Wow. Wow. I mean, it's just like I sit there and then I try and think about Dominguez and I look at his stats, and I heard this on WIP last night. I'm sitting there on WIP. I'm listening. Jack Fritz does the same thing to Spike and Ike. He brings it up. He makes them guess. Yeah. But I mean, could you imagine the Phillies bringing him back? Could you imagine the Phillies doing that? I don't know. Could you imagine? You had Dave Dombrowski say, yeah, we just brought back Sir Anthony friggin' Dominguez. I don't know. But just to wrap it up, you could see Stephen Kwan in your Class A from Cleveland. You could see Jarren Duran and Aroldis Chapman from Boston. You could see the double reliever Bednar and Santana from Pittsburgh. And then you could see maybe one piece from Minnesota, either Byron Buxton or Johan Duran. But that's just where you at. I mean, I'll let you respond to that, but then I want to kind of get into a Kepler rant.
Yeah, no worries. So you kind of took the words out of my mouth with most of the guys. The only people that I would really say is I like Bautista from the Baltimore Orioles. I like how big he is. I think he's got a good fastball. And I just think that would be a good move for the Phillies. They need somebody that's not a Bryce, like somebody said on WIP. They need somebody with, I think, that has a little bit of an edge, a little bit different of a work ethic. And I think that's a good thing. I don't know. I think that would be a good move. I think that they could get good value. There's also that pitcher from the Athletics.
Mason Miller.
Mason Miller, yeah. I was like, I want to say it's Mason Miller, but I don't know if it's Ryan Miller, but Mason Miller, man, I think he would be a good candidate. I don't know the year that he's having. And also Brent Rooker. Like if they're looking to bring in an outfielder, I know he's sometimes a designated hitter. And obviously that's Schwarber's role, but you could kind of move those pieces around. And last I checked, he was having a pretty good year. I don't know where he's been at the past month. So those would be kind of my candidates.
Well, he's had a very good year, but now here's what the problem is with that. So last year, obviously, everybody was very high on Brent Rooker. We all wanted Brent Rooker. We wanted a power bat, and we wanted Mason Miller along with the package. But now, because Dave Dombrowski passed on that.
Yes.
Dombrowski passed. He got a big contract in Oakland. He got a big contract. And now it's like, well, if you go and trade for him, number one, you're going to be giving up a lot of pieces. And then two, you're going to have to pay that contract as well. So, if you really wanted him, you would have had to bring him in last year and then pay him, some sort of money, give him a contract. But now that he got the contract from Oakland or whatever they are now, the Sacramento or whatever the hell they are, just the Athletics, it's tough because now he's on the contract. Then you're going to have to pay for the contract. You're going to have to give up more assets. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different ball game now because Dave Dombrowski doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. They could have gotten such a great package. Like if they would have had both those players, look at the position that they would be in now. They would be in such a better position. So shame on you, Dombrowski. But bro, hear why Kepler should have shame on him.
All right. And just to let you know, you were like you're lagging, just so you know. I'll just let you know with that before I get into this. Okay. So for everybody out there, I'm really trying to channel my inner thoughts right now because I'm very angry with Max Kepler. I think the last time I was on Sippin' Sports, I had a massive rant about Max Kepler. But here's my real problem with Max Kepler. And I think last night was my breaking point with Max Kepler. I mean, I'm at the point where you have to DFA him. You have to let him go. He's literally unplayable at this point. He's 9 for his last 51 at-bats. He's been a disaster. He has been a disaster. And ever since he's made those comments after that Houston series, when they got swept in Houston, and then he said he wanted to be the starting left fielder, ever since then, he has been arguably the worst of this entire year for him. He's 9 for his last 51. He's unplayable. He looks unhappy. He doesn't look like a good clubhouse guy. He sucks. And he's sucked since we got him, he sucked. He's batting .211. The guy's batting .211. .211, and he's 9 for his last 51 at-bats. I'd rather Otto Kemp go out there. It's like a disaster. It really is a disaster. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like watching him last night was seriously my breaking point. You have to DFA Max Kepler. He sucks. I mean, you're 9 for your last 51 at-bats. You're batting .211. And ever since you made those comments down there in Houston after we got swept, saying you want to be the starting left fielder, you've arguably been the worst you've ever been. I mean, you were bad before, but now you're really bad, dude. You couldn't hit water if you fell out of a boat. Last night, bases loaded, 2 outs, 8th inning, you're down by 2, and you can't hit. You pop up to the shortstop. You suck. You suck, you suck, you suck. Wouldn't you think after making those comments down there in Houston that you would play just a little bit better? Just a little bit, maybe a little bit better. Maybe a couple more hits right now. Now, let's just stink it up. That's what he does. He stinks it up. So I'm just going to remind everybody, Whit Merrifield got released last year on this day, actually. Whit Merrifield was released July 12th, 2024. So maybe we see Kepler. I think this could be his last series as a Philadelphia Philly. I actually believe that it could be his last series as a Philly. I mean, he's been like a disaster. Like it's bad. Like it's like watching him go up there. I could seriously have a better at bat than him. I mean, he like in the 8th inning. So I just want to relive the 8th inning for everybody. So the 8th inning, There's bases loaded, 1 out. Here comes Castellanos. Ground out, feeble at bat, ground out. Okay. Then here comes Max Kepler, who we already know what's going to happen here. He gets up there, 2 outs, bases loaded in the 8th inning. I mean, this is your time to shine. This is your time to maybe pick it up, try and score some runs, try and get in this ball game. No. Let's pop up to the freaking shortstop. I mean, do you, like, in all seriousness, do you understand how stupid and ridiculous it is? 9 for your last 51? 9 hits in your last 51? And you've been playing literally almost every day. Since the Houston series, you've dead-ass been playing literally almost every day. So you can't blame it on the fact you've been inconsistently playing. Let's just blame it on the fact that you suck! God, I hate this. I hate him. I can't stand him. And when they brought him in, I couldn't stand him anymore. I couldn't stand him then. I don't know. I don't know, man. I just like it's frustrating for me. It's for a guy that watches the Phillies every single night, or almost every single night, and watch the clips, watch the highlights, reads the tweets. And there's a guy who starts every game in left field and is not a better hitter than Bryson Stott, who can't hit, who is arguably worse than Johan Rojas, who can't hit. I mean, think about that. Think about that. And I keep saying it, but last night was really my breaking point with him. I mean, it was my breaking point. You have a chance to come up here with bases loaded, you get your team back in the ball game, and you couldn't do it. I don't like that. And I think if you've seen Whit Merrifield get moved today, 1 year ago today, maybe you see Max Kepler get released today. So, I mean, I just, I don't know. Like this, I'm trying my best not to fully lose it, but I'm also trying my best to make good solid points while ranting at the same time. He's just after making the comments that you did down there in Houston, and you come back and you're worse than before the Houston series and before you made the comments, that's not solid, man. That's not good stuff. And I'm not happy with that, but it is what it is at this point. He's going to be moved no matter what it is. DFA trade, he's moving.
Yeah. Hit the nail on the head. Sorry about my Wi-Fi, guys. I think that the only thing more disappointing than Kepler right now is my Wi-Fi, just as frustrating. But I'll go ahead and get into this real quick, just because I know my Wi-Fi isn't normally like this. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this has to do with the 911 outage in Pennsylvania. If you guys have heard of that, I don't know if it's coming to Delaware tonight or something. But something's really weird with my Wi-Fi, because this never happened. So I don't know if other Delawareans are having this, but it's been significantly bad.
Wait, hold on. What are you talking about with the 911? I think I seen an Instagram reel, but I thought they were BSing.
So no, it's real right now. In Pennsylvania, there's a state we won't work. Normally, when you call 911, what they'll do is they'll answer, then they'll dispatch you to the local police department in your area. They'll put them on it. Boom, boom, bang.
Yeah, right.
The way it works now is you actually have to call the local police department's number. So if you live in Delaware, hypothetically 302-XXX-XXXXX. If you live in South Jersey, 856. If you live in Central Jersey, 609. So you'll need to call that local police department, if you see what I'm saying. So if you don't, maybe go save that police department's phone number in your phone right now, just to be safe. Because I seen some videos online saying that the dark web was up to some stuff. I don't know what to believe with that. I don't know if that's bullshit or not. I just know that 911's out. So
just like before we, obviously we get into the sports talk, but this way, so the Instagram reel that I saw was that organized crime groups or criminals in general are beginning to call 911 and lie. So let's just say they're saying that there is they call 911 and they say, hey, there is a carjacking at 10th Street in South Philly. Okay. So then they get dispatched out there, but then like, so they, or something like really bad. So let's just say they call up 911, that they come up with a false claim that there is a home domestic violence, something. So a bunch of cops rush out there, and then that is when these criminals will go and break into houses, carjack. So when the cops are busy, they're coming up with stuff, they're lying. So when the cops are busy, that's when they are they're doing their little crime thing now. That's the reel that I saw. I don't know if that's true or not, but apparently they're calling up 911 and doing that stuff and lying to be able to break into people's houses and do criminal activity. So, and maybe I didn't believe it. Maybe it's true now that you're talking about it. I don't know.
Honestly, I saw the same reel this morning. I know what you're talking about, and I'll say if that's the case, that's pretty dang scary. So that's another reason I'm probably lagging out. So I'll let you take this first.
Yeah. So yeah, you are lagging out.
Me?
Yeah. You're a little bit laggy here and there, like you're in and out. Yeah.
Freaking Wi-Fi, dude. I'll let you take this one first.
Right. So what's up, everybody? So VJ Edgecombe obviously had a great start to the summer league. So I think it's ridiculous that there's a summer league before the actual summer league games, if that makes sense. So then there's this report that he comes out with that he has a thumb contusion, bruised thumb. He's injured. He's going to miss a couple games. The medical staff is looking at him, the whole 9 yards. So now here's my problem with that. VJ Edgecombe injury went from a bruised thumb, then to a thumb contusion, then to a thumb sprain, and now he's at a wrist injury. Okay, so he just missed the last game that the Sixers had of the summer league for a thumb sprain, but now they are claiming that it is a wrist injury, that there's something wrong with his hand, his thumb, his wrist, this whole 9 yards. So now there's a quote here from Daryl Morey on the Edgecombe injury that I want to read for you guys. So quote, yeah, so he hurt his wrist, sort of a day-to-day thing. He did parts of practice yesterday, and it'd be more today, and see how it feels. So, yeah, we're hoping to have him back out there. Now, everyone's excited, including us and VJ. Mostly VJ, though. VJ is annoyed by this injury. He really wants to be out there, and our medical staff is trying to be smart about it. Do you know how dumb that sounds? He is officially a Philadelphia 76er. He's already dealing with an injury. And you know what this injury makes me kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of the Paul George injury in the 2024 season, where he sat there and said that that he had a sprained pinky, and that's why he missed almost like the entire season at that point. It happened in February, and he missed the rest of the season because he claimed that he had a sprained or a bruised up pinky. So now, so when I think about VJ Edgecombe, obviously he's very good. He's been great. He was great in the summer league game, but he's really a Philadelphia 76er. Now he is. He's already dealing with an injury, and it's not good, because now I'm like, oh, he has to be bubble wrapped. Now he has to be bubble wrapped. Something ain't right. And at this point, something ain't right with this medical staff we have with the Sixers. Something ain't right. How do you go? And just for everybody who may have just joined, how do you go from when he was first announced that he was injured, from a bruised thumb, then to a thumb contusion, then to a thumb sprain, and now, according to Daryl Morey, he has a wrist injury? How do you go from A to B to C to D? How do you go for all of that? And that just tells me that our medical staff has not a clue what they are doing. But in all seriousness, am I concerned about what's happening with VJ Edgecombe? No. Am I concerned that he's going to miss significant time? No. I think he needs to focus on getting right, getting better, feeling better before he goes out and plays pointless, preseason games. Because think about it. They're pretty pointless. They're pretty pointless. Right now, we are in the preseason before the friggin' preseason. Does that mean, like, how stupid is that? So I don't know. He has multiple injuries according to the Philadelphia 76ers medical staff. So he just needs to rest up, focus on maybe getting better. He doesn't need to rush out and play, all these preseason games. We know he's going to be on the roster. We know where he is, where he's going to be. We know he's very good. This doesn't concern me at all. I mean, I'm just angry because it's like we needed a breath of fresh air from what happened last year with the Sixers team. We needed a new sense of life, new breath of fresh air, and then you have VJ Edgecombe, who is your breath of fresh air, and he comes in and he plays great. I think he had like 28 points in the first game that he played in the preseason, and then on the summer league, and then now he's hurt. So it's like a breath of fresh air, and now it's like the same old Sixers, and I think that's why people are upset. I think, but in all seriousness, I'm known as like the rage guy and like the overreaction type of guy. I'm not worried. It's just like a thumb or wrist thing. He should be all right. I just think the medical staff sucks, and they have to do a better job, because how do you go from bruised thumb? No, yeah, bruised thumb to a thumb contusion to a thumb sprain, now a wrist injury. I don't know. It's July. It's not Sixer season yet. He'll be okay.
Yeah. I want to just move on to the next topic, just because I know my Wi-Fi sucks. Like I said, normally these shows aren't like this, so I'm going to try to speed it up. I apologize to you guys. Next week, it'll be better. I have no clue what the hell is going on with this shit. It's awful. But, Broad, I'll let you take it first. If you could have a team of one player, one guy to basically clone on a roster of 11, maybe 22, we'll say, both sides of the ball, who would you take and why?
So, I obviously already know who Dalt's going to take, and I'm not going to spoil it for everybody. But and when Dalt told me this topic, I had not a clue who I was going to talk about. I had not a clue who I was going to pick as a player. Not a clue. And I had some thinking to do, and I kind of thought about it on the spot when we first got into the show. One player that I would take to play all offense and obviously all defense, and Dalton knows who I'm about to say, my main man, Mr. Brian Dawkins. Could you imagine a team full of little Brian Dawkins guys out there? Could you imagine a team full of the defensive line of a menace of Brian Dawkins, a backfield, a secondary of all Brian Dawkins, ready to hawk you down and pile drive you into the grass? Could you imagine offensive line? And I got to tell you, I don't think you're getting past my main man, Brian Dawkins. I don't think so on the offensive line. And I think he'd be a great running back, a great receiver. My player that I would pick, Mr. Brian Dawkins. I think it would be very great. I think he'd be good on both sides of the football.
Dawk is a great answer. I think that makes a lot of sense. I have a couple guys. You ever get so angry at something that you forget what you were going to say? That's how mad my Wi-Fi has made me this show. Who did I say earlier? You can say it. Don't worry. Who did I say?
Wait, hold. I think you said last night was AJ Brown.
AJ Brown was on the graphic. That wasn't mine though.
Because I remember in the group chat, I think somebody said something about AJ Brown though.
I don't even remember who I said now. I just thought of a couple on the spot though that would be fun, right? I feel like hypothetically, Travis Hunter.
Oh yeah, you did say Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter's a fun one because he's like the first two-side ball player in a long time. But let's think about a couple other fun ones. I feel like running backs and wide receivers and cornerbacks are the most fun when you think about this. And the more dominant as a wide receiver or as a running back, the better, because you're versatile in those positions. Marshawn Lynch, that would be a very fun one. Watching 11 Marshawn Lynch's take on a team. Yeah. Adrian Peterson, I'm thinking off the top of my head. That would be another versatile one. Like when you think about or Saquon Barkley, you could even say would be a fun one to watch, 11 Saquon Barkleys play on another team. I think probably the best answer, though, would probably be a wide receiver like AJ, like DK, like Julio Jones in his prime.
Yeah, I was
Because
going to
you can
say
think about
Julio.
it that you can play the secondary, you can play safety. Those guys a lot of times can throw the ball too. They could be somewhat decent in the linebacker spot. Now, the only spot where they won't be good is the line, but it is what it is at that point. The point of the game is to score too. And when you think about skill players, I definitely think like those guys are fun ones. What do you think about Christian McCaffrey? Like in his prime, we'll say. Is that a good one?
I mean, maybe, but I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, I think he's kind of small. Like,
Yeah.
could you imagine him like being a safety out there as like a small guy or like a defensive tackle or something? I mean, maybe I wouldn't even say Barkley could do it. I don't know if maybe, but I don't think fully. I think you really have to go with like Travis Hunter's too easy because he does play both sides of the football. But like, I think you have to more go with like the AJ Browns, the Julio Joneses, the Brian Dawkins. I mean, could you imagine a team of Brian Dawkins? I think that's really where you have to go. Like the guys that are completely jacked, they're 6 foot something tall. They're ready to pile drive you, and that's why I think Brian Dawkins is the best answer, at least from the Eagles wise. And I'm like drawing blank on people's names that I would want to pick, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Let us know in the comments who you guys would like. I know we're probably going to wrap it there just because my Wi-Fi sucks. We will have a better show for you guys next week. I can promise you that. I'm going to look into what's going on. Maybe it's a problem with my laptop. Maybe I have too much shit on there. Or maybe the purge is coming. Let's hope not. God forbid. But That's all we got. If you guys haven't, please be sure to give Broad Street Sports a follow. It's at Broad Street Sports _ on Instagram. I got that right?
Yes, sir. And TikTok and YouTube. Yes, sir.
Perfect. Make sure to give him a follow on his channel. Love what he's building. And he is going to be here every Saturday morning with us moving forward, talking Philly sports. So if you loved him today, get ready to love him every Saturday. Other than that, hope you guys have a good weekend. Hope you have a good weekend, my man.
Yes, sir. You too, man.
We'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Vincent Van Gogh, people told him, you can't be a great painter, you only have one ear. You know what he said? I can't hear you.
Listening to Sippin' Sports.